All right, we did it.
right.
We're live. Finally, there we go.
That was easy.
We did it. Okay, good. So we got our friend Deshaun. He's actually in the room, aren't you, buddy?
I'm here.
He's here. He's here. He's helping us maintain a certain level of quality. Frankly, one to which I'm just not accustomed. Just not yet accustomed, and I appreciate it. It's good to have high bars. We are back. I've done already a couple live streams today. This is the third one in in as many hours. I'm joined here by Microsoft's Sean Lee. You've been on the show before.
I have.
Yeah. Well, the podcast. You haven't been on the
Podcast,
YouTube.
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm honored to be here.
I'm glad to have you here as well. We're in Barcelona. How hard is our life?
It is. Life is good, I would say. We're in Barcelona. Come on.
Well, not a fly on the wall. You're like a legend on the wall. Whatever, it's like if Jeff Goldblum was on the wall. Not the fly, but the actor, Okay, yeah, so good. So Sean Lee, like you I don't know, people might have heard the episode before, the podcast. I hope they have, obviously. But in that, it was revealed that our star is you work at Microsoft. Oh, one of our friends over
I still work at Microsoft.
Yeah.
I still work at the Spring team.
Oh, I love it. So in whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm based in Shanghai.
Oh, I love that city.
Yeah.
My favorite city. It's
Yes.
my favorite.
Yes.
We've talked about this before. I won't reiterate. I'm just saying the nightlife and the word bund are like synonymous. Oh, yeah.
Picture time.
Hey. Okay, thanks. We got a photo live. So okay, you're in Shanghai, and our partnership has gone, as the Spring team and over at Microsoft and Azure Spring Apps. What is it called now? Yeah, Azure Spring. It used to be called Azure Spring Cloud.
The Spring on Apps team. I think.
Right.
Spring on Azure team. I'd say.
Right, the whole thing, right?
Whole thing,
I'm gonna get like your name card in there so people can see that you got all the stamps. There you go.
You got all the stamps. It takes 7 stamps to collect a T-shirt at Spring I/O this year.
They gamified it.
Very difficult.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you're at Microsoft, and so we basically the Spring team have this joint partnership. We're at VMware, and we have a joint partnership with Microsoft to just make a platform that runs Spring apps. That's called Azure Spring Apps. There's a even more enterprise grade, sort of production worthy version called Azure Spring Apps Enterprise, and that has extra, VMware Tanzu
Support and all that.
support and all that stuff. Really good stuff.
There's definitely that. Although I will add that our partnership between VMware and Microsoft stars predates that.
Yeah, of course.
It predates Azure Spring Apps, right? I think we started this partnership maybe 6-7 years ago,
Yep.
where we started working on the Spring integration libraries together, right?
Spring Cloud for Azure, and now there's
Spring Cloud Azure libraries.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right, where you can use the libraries to interact with Azure services using the Spring integration abstraction. Using Spring library interactions
Right, the
without idioms, without having to actually learning to use the Java SDK, which is a very powerful abstraction.
And it's. I noticed that it's gone two ways. Obviously, we've learned a lot from you, but I noticed that, for example, years ago, our Jonathan Lyles. No, I think it's somebody else. Jonathan in New Zealand.
Jonathan Guile.
Yeah. He talked about they basically standardized the SDK around Reactor, right? So all libraries, all integrations use the non-blocking approach to building services. That's a good thing for everybody for scalability. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot beyond just the platform that we jointly build. There's these libraries. There's Spring Cloud for Azure, which is
Spring Cloud Azure libraries.
Yeah, a set of libraries that integrate the idioms that people come to expect when dealing with Spring Cloud, which is itself a set of extensions for Spring Boot that is designed to support building cloud native services, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what is that? What does the state of that look like today?
The state of that is, I'd say we have definitely evolved from the very few libraries to today. We have, definitely over a couple dozen libraries that spans over Azure data, Azure messaging, storage, basically everything you need to do as a developer to build your modern Spring apps on Azure. We've got it covered.
Yeah. So okay, and there's also in security, like
security. I'm sure security is a very
Active Directory,
Active Directory,
amazing integration right there.
Yeah.
That was the one I always talk about because it's one of those things where, like, building a wrapper around the property source abstraction in Spring to talk to the vaults thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really useful, and I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I could probably have written the same code in a couple of days myself. But Active Directory,
Active Directory is hard.
Active Directory
that
is
is no joke.
it is the most sophisticated directory. It's the most sophisticated directory service out there.
Yeah.
Full stop. It's like the Oracle database of directory services, and it's undisputedly the most widely used. But I couldn't do it in a couple of days. I couldn't make it work. I can't even deploy it. So now you can deploy it on Microsoft Azure. Just push button simple. You got an instance on Azure Spring Apps, and then there's a nice easy integration for Spring Security. And
Exactly. Yeah.
It is phenomenal. So you can do things like authentication by connecting to a Active Directory install.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What used to be like a month for any normal organization to like sort of get comfortable with is now just a few minutes in front of a console and some code, maybe not a few minutes, maybe let's say an hour. Okay. Before you actually have something that works, and another few hours to like get buy-in from all the different people in the security organization. But it's basically it's really good from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of security and Azure Active Directory, I think one thing that we're really pushing these days is what we call managed identities, right? Go passwordless. How do we?
I was thinking about you in the keynote this morning. I was thinking about that.
Really?
Did you see the keynote?
I was at the keynote. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. If you didn't miss much except for all the great stuff that you missed. But by the way, this is not Anton. I forgot to relabel the.
Josh and Anton.
Yeah, Anton Arhipov. Can I change this here? Yeah. How do you change it while it's live?
Yeah.
Oh, edit up here maybe.
Yep.
No. I don't know. I got nothing. Anyway,
I guess I'll be Anton then.
This is Sean Lee, the one, the only, the amazing, the inimitable Sean Lee. So we did this keynote, and in the keynote, we talked about the new thing in Spring Boot 3.1, where we basically have this new indirection between so basically in Spring up until now, you have Spring Boot, it has auto configuration. Auto configuration gets a hold of a properties object. It's an object that has strings and values like your username and password and stuff bound to it, and that those values are sourced from, for example, the vault support.
Key vaults.
Or they're sourced from property files, or they're sourced from environment variables, whatever. And so we take those config properties objects, and we say, okay, I'm going to build a new JavaX SQL data source using this driver, using this connection pool, using this username and this password. And so there's a one-to-one connection between properties and the thing that gets produced as a result of that. Mm-hmm. But now there's a lot of situations where you don't really need or have an environment variable or a property at all. So for example, when we're doing development locally on using test containers or Docker Compose, there's a Java API. We can programmatically ask the Docker Compose API, hey, what container is running? Is there anything that we recognize like Postgres or whatever? If so, what are the usernames and passwords and hosts and ports? Right. So there's no reason for anything in Spring to care about the property, right? And the same thing is also with this Azure stuff, right? You've got this new passwordless connections. Yeah. It's awesome, and it's like such a natural thing. You have a machine identity, which is authenticated to you. It's tied to your, to
whatever hardware that you run in the environment. Yeah.
So there's no reason my Spring app should have to care about
no reason why you need to worry about connection strings. How do you safely store username and passwords?
Yeah.
All that goes away with managed identities.
Yeah, exactly. It goes away. So now imagine we could rework that integration in Spring Cloud Azure.
That's already
yes,
like underway, or like I would say probably 90% of that work is already done.
That's amazing. That's going to be an amazing use, and it's all because we have that new indirection. It's called connection details. So now the auto config injects the connection details, but where the connection details comes from, there's a little bit of an extra jump there, but it could come from properties like in the old way, but now it can also come from Docker Compose or test containers or passwordless contexts in the machine identity tied to my Azure instance.
Azure Web Services.
Yeah. So really, really powerful stuff.
All right.
So this the machine, the passwordless connections. What services in Microsoft Azure support that?
So today not everything, but there's a good number of services we support. Azure Database Space for MySQL, Postgres, Redis, and then we have a long backlog of items. I think definitely Service Bus is on there, Event Grid, storage, Key Vault, those are all in there. I remember off the top of my head
It's a
like
long
where things are, but definitely if we're not there today, we will get there shortly in the future.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where possible, right? And I think if my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that the magic behind this is that each of these Java drivers, a lot of them have their like own custom connection string, and you can put in like question mark, connection class equals, and then it'll instantiate the class, which can then source the username and password.
Yeah,
and
it's similar.
but it's not a standard. It's just like each database has its own thing.
Yeah.
And so Microsoft Azure has plugged into those.
Mm-hmm.
And so now from our perspective, we don't need to,
As a Spring developer, you don't need to worry about that.
Exactly.
That's implementation detail. We'll handle it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what else is happening.
What else is happening? There's actually a lot that's happening, Josh.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There's
What a ridiculous question.
Since when was the last time we met? It was like
It's been a minute.
3
years. We
3
talked online.
years.
Yeah, I think we had a
kind of. That was like just the world has changed. I think it's the last time we talked.
Oh yeah.
But I think personal life aside,
Mhm.
well, I think one side that China has finally opened up. So I hope that you get to travel to China and visit us at some time.
Oh please, yes, please. You're gonna be the first person I call. I might call you from.
Before you go, so we
No,
can
I'll
plan,
call you-
we
I'll-
can plan it the whole thing.
I might call you from like after.
You
As I'm knocking on his door,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's how you do it.
Or just be like, I'll be at some what's Grandma's Place, whatever.
I don't remember
The restaurant,
I don't
it's
know.
called Grandma's Place. It's like famous and.
There's many famous places.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
where you're
well.
going with it, but-
Okay.
Whenever
yeah.
you get
Or
to a
Heidelberg.
place.
We'll just meet there.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome.
Okay. But so other than that, I think I work on the Azure Spring Apps
Yeah.
team side. I think there's a lot that's going on from Azure Spring Apps.
Yeah.
I think there's basically two investment areas in Azure Spring Apps. Oh, so maybe I should introduce Azure Spring Apps. I think maybe not all the audience knows what it is. Azure Spring Apps is a fully managed platform to run any type of Spring Boot apps on Azure. It is a tailor-made platform that takes care of infrastructure management, lifecycle management, as well as monitoring. Right? So there are two offering in Azure Spring Apps. So one is the commercials on the commercial side, Azure Spring Apps Enterprise Edition. That one is has a very close collaboration with VMware team, where we offer the commercial support, all the commercial middleware from the Spring team, from the VMware Tanzu product portfolio.
Nice.
And that's that's one hand. The other hand is where we will work with the OSS team, where we have an Azure Spring Apps standard offering, where we offer all the standard OSS components of Azure Spring Apps. And today, actually, I have a session tomorrow, which I will
in Barcelona.
At Spring I/O, which I will make a pre-announcement of a feature which we're going to make available in the Azure Spring Apps standard offering plan. And I want to take this opportunity to.
Can you tell us? You can't tell us.
I can tell you, yes.
You sure?
Yes.
You won't get in trouble with
No.
like 5 different groups of people.
So we're actually we already did a soft announcement back in April.
Well, now that makes me feel like it's less special, but okay.
But like it was a soft launch. We didn't really
Well,
have
okay.
knowledge, but
So consider this your second soft launch.
this is sure. But I will say there's two part of that announcement.
Yeah.
There's the Azure Spring Apps standard consumption plan, which we announced in April. But wait for this one. The Azure Spring Apps dedicated is a new announcement, which we will announce at Microsoft Build. And that I haven't told anybody yet. So you're the first one.
Okay. Oh my God.
Right, how do you feel about that?
I'm now nervous. I'm going to be like
Okay.
hunted for secrets.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me tell you about those two offerings. The standard consumption plan it's a work consumption. It's a pay-as-you-go plan.
Right. As
And
opposed to what?
As opposed to the standard plan today, is you pay for a pre-allocated amount of resources that you pay. So there's a start off. You would start off with 6 CPUs in your standard core, and there's a price tag associated with that to get started. So one of the feedback that we learned from our customers is, what if I have apps that I do not need to run all the time? Scale from zero, right? We heard multiple speakers talking about scaling up to
Absolutely.
zero in the keynote.
Huge
this
theme.
morning. Exactly, huge theme. So Azure Spring Apps consumption plan is another app hosting destination where we're now supporting your apps to scale from and back to zero.
Wow, you can start at zero and go to zero, and if you're not being
If you're
used,
not
you're
using,
using it.
you're not charging it. Right?
I love this. I love this. You know what that means to me? That means there's no risk, not even financial.
Not
Like,
even for, well, the best part is, so I think that this was back in November last year is when we unleashed the free grant for Azure Spring Apps. So every month you get 50 CPU, 100 GB
wow.
free of usage. Now, with the standard consumption plan, you've got nothing to lose financially. Go there, try out Azure Spring Apps standard consumption, and the 50 CPU hours are free every month.
You know what I love about this, dude? Like, it's already the number 2 biggest cloud platform. It's not like you're an upstart that's trying to get customers to take a risk and try out their stuff. It's already the thing that, the second largest group of people in the world are using.
Yeah.
I love this. This is just charity at this point. You're just being nice to people, and I love that about
This is icing on the cake, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Anton was the last speaker. I forgot to update. This is Sean Lee. You can see it says right there. Sean, I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. Yeah, that's really, really great. Is there?
So that's the consumption plan.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, dedicated is the new plan that we're going to announce at Microsoft Build, which is happening on May 23rd, so about a week from today.
Where's that? Here in Barcelona?
That is at Seattle. Seattle.
Oh, that's a nice place too, but not as nice. I'm just hot take. It's just not as nice as Barcelona. It's just, if you like, it's great.
It's great.
It's great. Okay, I'm just saying.
I
Barcelona.
can't comment on that.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat, Josh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So let me talk about this dedicated plan. What that offers is it's a single tenancy plan that gives you, well, it's a plan that gives you single tenancy, and right off the bat, you would be able to allocate resources.
Yeah.
Because it's a single tenant environment.
Okay.
And we would bill you based on the amount of resources that you use. Now, how is this different from the standard from the classic standard offer? So the single tenancy is the biggest one. And then you also get a bigger range of app sizes. So you can go all the way from, I think it's 0.1 core to start. You can scale that all the way to 16 core and 120 GB memory.
Wow. You could run Slack.
You can run anything.
That's
so
amazing.
Got a much wider breadth of app sizes that you can scale to.
Amazing.
Yeah.
My friend, what's the website you'd point people to quickly if they wanted to learn more?
To learn more, we're actually writing the blog as we speak on that,
so,
but it hasn't been announced. But to try our consumption plan, you can head on to, I don't have the short URL in front of me, but if you go to our Microsoft documentation and search for Azure Spring Apps and look for the launch your first event-driven app on Azure Spring Apps.
Okay, I love it. Let me say here, this one? Quick start.
Yeah.
Before you first, quick start.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to paste this in the chat. And then I think we're going to boogie. I think we have to call it good because Deshaun and I are going to do a little panel here in Barcelona. And it's probably going to be fine, but it won't be good if we don't show up.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend.
It's
great to see you.
Great to see you too.
So hopefully we'll see each other in China.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Thanks, Deshaun.